In the dead of night, nearly 2,000 years ago, a solitary man sat inside a cold military tent on the frozen northern frontier of the Roman Empire. Outside, the winds of war howled along the Danube River. Inside, by the dim light of an oil lamp, the most powerful human being on earth was writing. He was not drafting imperial decrees. He was not writing letters to his Senate, nor was he preparing strategic military orders for his legions. He was writing to himself. He was confronting his own flaws, examining his deepest fears, and training his own mind. His name was Marcus Aurelius Antoninus. He was the emperor of Rome, ruling over an empire that spanned millions of square miles and contained over 50 million subjects. Yet, Marcus Aurelius did not write these words for fame, glory, or historical legacy. In fact, he never intended for a single person to read what he wrote. He titled his private notes simply, "To Himself." Today, the world knows this collection of personal reflections as Meditations. During his reign, Marcus Aurelius faced a mountain of crises that would have broken almost any other leader in history. He endured the devastating Antonine Plague, an epidemic that wiped out millions of citizens and devastated the Roman economy. He faced relentless wars on the borders, internal betrayals by trusted generals, the deaths of 8 of his children, and his own failing physical health. Yet, amidst total chaos, disaster, and immense pressure, Marcus Aurelius remained a beacon of absolute calm, moral clarity, and unwavering discipline. How did he achieve this? How did the ruler of the known world keep his mind completely undisturbed by the storm around him? The answer lies in the ancient practice of Stoic philosophy. Welcome back to Anima Forte. In today's deep exploration, we are diving into Marcus Aurelius Meditations to uncover 5 profound, life-changing lessons that will teach you how to master your mind, conquer anxiety, and build an unbreakable inner strength in our chaotic modern world. Prepare your mind, eliminate all distractions, and let us embark on this journey into wisdom. If you analyze all human suffering, anxiety, and frustration, you will find that almost all of it stems from a single mistake: trying to control things that are not within our power. Marcus Aurelius recognized this fundamental human error early in his reign. In Meditations, he established what Stoic philosophers call the dichotomy of control. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let us break this down deeply. The world around us is divided into 2 distinct realms: things that are up to us and things that are not up to us. What is up to us? Our thoughts, our intentions, our moral choices, our discipline, and our responses to the world. That is all. What is not up to us? Everything else. The behavior of other people, the traffic on the road, the fluctuations of the economy, illness, aging, the weather, and the ultimate outcome of our efforts. When you tie your happiness, self-worth, and mental peace to external outcomes, you hand over the keys to your soul to the outside world. You become a puppet controlled by external circumstances. If people praise you, you feel happy. If people criticize you, you feel destroyed. If plans go well, you feel confident. If plans fail, you sink into despair. Marcus Aurelius refused to be a slave to external circumstances. He realized that outside events are completely neutral. An event in itself possesses no emotional charge. It is only our judgment, our interpretation, that transforms a neutral event into a tragedy or an insult. He noted, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." Consider this example. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic or speaks rudely to you at work. The physical action itself lasts only a few seconds. It causes no physical damage to your character or your soul. But your mind steps in and says, "They disrespected me. This is terrible." It is that internal narrative, not the person's actions, that creates your anger and ruins your entire day. To master this lesson, you must cultivate the habit of radical mental division. Whenever a wave of anxiety, anger, or stress hits you, immediately freeze your reaction and ask yourself, does this belong to my inner circle of control or the outer circle of the world? If it is outside your control, such as a delayed flight, a rude comment, or an unexpected financial hurdle. Take a deep breath and tell yourself, "This is none of my business to emotionally control. I can only control how I respond right now." Stop trying to force the river of life to flow according to your desires. Instead, master the art of navigating the river regardless of where it flows. That is the true definition of psychological freedom. Every second of every day, a continuous conversation takes place inside your head. This internal monologue is the filter through which you experience the entirety of your life. Marcus Aurelius made a profound observation regarding human consciousness in Meditations. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you pour red dye into clear water, the water turns red. If you saturate your mind with daily thoughts of bitterness, victimhood, jealousy, and self-doubt, your entire life experience will be painted in those dark shades. You can possess millions of dollars, perfect health, and immense status. But if your mind is an environment of constant complaint and fear, you will live a miserable life. Conversely, if you dye your mind with thoughts of gratitude, reason, courage, and self-restraint, you can be placed in the worst possible circumstances and still maintain an inner sanctuary of peace. Marcus Aurelius used his journal to actively correct his own mental narrative. He knew that even as emperor, he was susceptible to human weaknesses. Every morning, before stepping out to face senators, generals, and citizens, he gave himself a stern internal briefing. He famously wrote at the beginning of Book 2, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot distinguish good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and I have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. None of them can hurt me." Notice what Marcus Aurelius did here. He did not engage in toxic positivity. He did not pretend that the world was full of perfect, kind people. Instead, he mentally prepared himself for reality so that when people acted foolishly, he was neither surprised nor angered. Furthermore, he understood that complaining is a form of self-sabotage. He wrote, "Never be heard complaining, not even to yourself. When you complain, you reinforce the belief that you are a helpless victim of circumstance. You drain your own agency and power. You must become the vigilant guardian of your internal voice. First, eliminate emotional exaggeration. When something goes wrong, describe it to yourself using objective, factual language. Do not say, 'My life is ruined, everything is going wrong.' Instead say, 'I am facing a difficult financial setback, and I need to adjust my budget.' Second, audit your daily mental intake. What are you consuming? Are you filling your mind with chaotic news, endless social media drama, and negative gossip? Or are you feeding it timeless philosophy, deep knowledge, and constructive thoughts? Guard the gates of your mind as fiercely as a king guards the gates of his city. The thoughts you allow to take root will ultimately determine the quality of your existence. How do you react when your plans collapse? When an unexpected crisis destroys months of hard work? When life hits you with an unavoidable tragedy? Most people view obstacles as tragic interruptions to their lives. They live in a state of waiting for the problems to disappear, waiting for life to become easy and smooth before they decide to be happy, productive, or at peace. Marcus Aurelius possessed a revolutionary framework for viewing adversity. He did not see obstacles as interruptions to life. He saw obstacles as the very essence of life itself. In one of the most famous passages ever written in philosophical history, he stated, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." To understand this concept, picture a blazing campfire. If you drop a tiny match into a bucket of water, the water extinguishes the match. The obstacle wins. But if a campfire is burning with immense heat and passion, and you throw heavy logs, dead trees, and debris onto it, what happens? The fire does not get extinguished. It consumes the debris, uses it as fuel, and grows exponentially brighter and hotter because of what was thrown onto it. Marcus Aurelius believed that a disciplined mind operates exactly like that blazing fire. Every hardship, every betrayal, every illness, and every financial crisis is simply raw fuel thrown into the furnace of your character. Consider how this applies in practice. When someone acts dishonestly toward you, they are giving you the opportunity to practice integrity and forgiveness. When you face extreme stress and pressure, life is giving you the opportunity to practice calmness and composure. When you experience physical pain or loss, you are being offered the opportunity to build endurance and fortitude. Without obstacles, virtue cannot exist. A muscle cannot grow without resistance. A sword cannot be forged without intense heat and heavy hammers. In the exact same way, a strong, resilient soul cannot be developed in an easy, comfortable life. From this moment forward, invert your perspective on difficulty. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Start asking, "What virtue is this situation asking me to develop?" Is it demanding patience? Is it demanding adaptability, courage, discipline? When you adopt this Stoic mindset, you become virtually invincible. Why? Because there is no situation in human life, no matter how terrible, that deprives you of the ability to practice virtue. Every roadblock becomes a new path. Every setback becomes a lesson. The obstacle is not in your way. The obstacle is the way. Let us now confront a truth that modern society tries desperately to hide, distract from, and ignore. You are going to die. In ancient Rome, when a victorious general paraded through the streets in a grand triumph, celebrated by thousands of cheering citizens, a slave stood behind him in his chariot. The slave's sole job was to whisper continuously into the general's ear, "Respice posti, hominum te esse memento." Look behind you. Remember you are only a man. Remember you will die. This practice was known as memento mori, remembering mortality. For Marcus Aurelius, death was not a depressing or morbid thought that induced existential terror. Rather, it was the most powerful tool for absolute mental clarity, humility, and prioritization. In Meditations, he wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Think about how much of your daily life is wasted on utter nonsense. We waste precious hours arguing with strangers on the internet. We hold bitter grudges for years over trivial misunderstandings. We worry endlessly about what people, who we don't even respect, think about us. We postpone our dreams, our creative work, and our relationships because we foolishly assume we have an infinite supply of tomorrows. Do not wait for a life-threatening illness or a sudden tragedy to realize how precious your time is. Practice memento mori every morning. When you open your eyes in the morning, say to yourself, "I have been given another day to live, to love, to work, and to experience the universe. This day is not guaranteed. I will not waste it on anger, laziness, or trivial drama." Let death be your wise advisor. Use it to strip away the non-essential distractions of life and focus entirely on what matters. Living with honor, treating others with kindness, and fulfilling your duty. The final, overarching synthesis of Meditations is the concept of building what philosophers call the inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Constantly, then, grant yourself this retreat and renew yourself." In modern life, when people feel overwhelmed, stressed, or burn out, their immediate instinct is to seek external escape. They book vacations, go on trips, scroll mindlessly on their phones, or turn to substances to numb their minds. But Marcus Aurelius pointed out the flaw in this approach. If your internal mind is a place of chaos, anxiety, and conflict, you will carry that chaos with you wherever you travel. You cannot run away from yourself. The inner citadel is an unassailable fortress built inside your own consciousness. It is constructed out of moral principles, self-discipline, rational thinking, and emotional mastery. When the outer world is in complete turmoil, when market crashes occur, when pandemics hit, when people criticize you, or when personal plans shatter, the Stoic simply steps back into their inner citadel. Inside this sanctuary, no external force can touch your core soul unless you explicitly grant it permission. Building this citadel requires daily, deliberate practice. It requires taking time away from constant noise, sitting in silence, writing in a journal, and examining your soul with complete honesty. Marcus Aurelius never sought to create a grand philosophical theory for textbooks. He wrote Meditations to survive the weight of the world with his soul intact. To summarize the 5 core lessons of Meditations: differentiate between what you can control and what you cannot. Master your internal monologue. Die your soul with wisdom. Turn every obstacle into fuel for your personal growth. Remember your mortality to live with absolute clarity and purpose. Retreat daily into your inner citadel to find true, unshakable peace. You do not need to control the world around you to be at peace. You only need to master the world within you. As the great emperor concluded in his personal journal, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Thank you for spending this valuable time with us today on Anima Forte. If this journey into Stoic wisdom brought value to your life, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with someone who needs strength today. Leave a comment below. Which of these 5 lessons will you practice today? Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and remain strong.